So UFC 249 was supposed to be headlined by Khabib and Tony Ferguson, but with Khabib's status up in the air, Ferguson still wants to fight. The likely opponent for Ferguson is going to be Justin Gaethje. If Ferguson and Gaethje were to suit up against each other, Ferguson would be the favorite -170, and even without Khabib, UFC 249 might have a pretty good main event. Next up is Jon Jones, who is once again in the news, and it had to do with alcohol and driving, which we've seen before, unfortunately. So he was arrested and charged with DWI and also had a firearms charge, as he was carrying a weapon when he was arrested. Due to Jon Jones' history, we'll see what will happen with him with respect to a possible UFC suspension, and along with that, we'll see if Jon Jones gets any jail time or anything like that. After the arrest, Jon Jones came out and said he has a very unhealthy relationship with alcohol, apparently crying in that dash cam footage from his latest arrest. Jones accepted a plea deal earlier on Tuesday, March 31st, so we'll see what happens with respect to his UFC future. Next two pieces of news are both going to be for UFC 251, starting with Alexander Volkanovski. Volkanovski is likely going to be defending his title later this year due to recovering from a broken hand. Initially, Volkanovski was set to fight at UFC 251 in June, but due to that broken hand mentioned earlier and due to the coronavirus, his training has been a little bit delayed. Due to the coronavirus, Volkanovski, along with many other fighters, have adjusted their training, which means they just aren't in the same type of shape they'd hopefully want to be in for a fight. So look for this title defense to occur later in the year. And finally, we get to Valentina Shevchenko and Joanne Calderwood's fight at UFC 251. So Valentina and Calderwood's fight was for a title, and that will be delayed at UFC 251. So Valentina and her team haven't actually come out and said exactly what the injury is, but with that being said, the injury is bad enough that it is going to hold Valentina out of the fight. This means that both of the top fights at UFC 251 are going to be delayed to later in the year, so who knows what's going to happen with respect to those fights and those cards. But with everything going on with respect to the virus and just with natural fighter injuries, a lot of fights are probably going to be postponed or changed. So let's see how the rest of the year goes. Here's to a pretty wild MMA year. Be sure to like and subscribe for more MMA updates. Alright, peace guys.